Hello, I am Nathan from Tux Game Studios, and this is the third tutorial in the game development series. And in this tutorial, we're going to be covering for loops and while loops. And what this does is it cycles through a value or a test for a bool value, and doesn't end until that value is true or false. So we're going to be using the main template that we started earlier on the tutorial 2. So let's get started. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to use a while loop. And what we can do is we can go console output and send in this is not in the while loop, the end line. And then after we do that, we can use our get character method to wait until we press another button. And then after we do that, we're going to set up our while loop. While let's do this one's really simple. While 1 will always be 1. This will always happen. 1 will never exit. This loop will continue on forever. And most programs, you're not going to want a loop that continues on forever. So while 1, we're going to display new line. So I showed you earlier end line, and what it does is it goes to the next line, just like you would press enter. Also, you can also use the C++ version and just type in \n, and that means new line. And what this is going to do is every time it circles through the while loop, it's going to display a new line on a new line because of n. There are a bunch of these escape keys, and you can look up the escape keys. You cannot use this slash, because if you use the slash and it's not an escape key, it's going to say unknown C++ escape key, and that will be bad. So new line /new, and we're going to run this, and it's going to display. Oh, there's an error. Oh, sorry about that. Just use pause. Okay. So we're going to run this. What is going on? Sorry about this. Let me just pause this real quick. Sorry about that. I found the error. I was just missing a semicolon right here. Okay, so we're going to run the program. And it's going to say this is not in the while loop, but when you press a button, it's constantly repeating new line, new line, new line, constantly doing it over and over again. And you can stop it and you scroll up, these are all the new lines. And it just keeps doing it over and over. It will never exit, no matter what you do. So, exit out of that. So, if we want to make it where you can actually exit, you can make an integer. You can name it exit and set it equal to 0 while exit. Okay, so you may be confused about this. In C++, the equal sign does not mean equals. This is the assignment operator. It assigns a value to this name of a variable. But an actual equal sign is two equal signs. It's saying that if exit is equal to 0, then it's going to keep doing this over and over again. So there's that. So also, console input, as long as we only type 0 in, it will never exit. So run this. It's not in the while loop. Press the button, see a new line. It's prompting you for input. Press 0, type enter, it'll do it again. 0, type enter, do it again. Press enter, type 0, do it again. Let's press 1. It exits. If you pressed in 2 or 3 or 4, it would also exit. Okay, so that's a while loop. Now we're going to go over a for loop. For loops are a little bit more complicated, but they're also very, very useful when you're trying to cycle through information. So for open parentheses, You can use I or any variable, but this variable will not be able to be read in any other like any other process. You'd have to type in another variable type because it's its own variable in these parentheses. Integer I equals 0. You assign this value of 0 to integer I in line. I is less than, say, 25 in line I plus plus. And what plus plus does is it increments that value. So if it's equal to 1 and you do plus plus, it's going to equal 2. If it's equal to 2, you do plus plus, it's going to be equal to 3. And it's going to keep doing that over and over again until it's less, and while it's less than 25. As soon as it hits 25, it's going to exit the for loop. But the actual 25 value will not be displayed because it's going to be equal to 24. So what you can do is console output I. Console output also works for variable number, like as numbers as well as strings and characters. It doesn't always have to be just a string. We're going to want to make it go onto a new line so we can actually see what the number is. So when I run this program, it's going to count on the screen down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to 25. And I'm going to want to set up pause here. And I'm going to show you the program. This is what it should look like on your screen also. There's a warning. It ran anyway. I didn't change that, but this should say this is not in a for loop. We press the button, it counts all the way to 25 and then exits. We gotta pause it after that. Sorry about that. This is not in the for loop. Press the button, it counts all the way to 25. Or 24, and then stops. This is the I value. It's displaying the I value. And as soon as it gets to 24 and it increases one more time, that's when it doesn't display it anymore. That's when it exits the for loop. You're not in the for loop anymore. Press the button to exit. So that is the basics of a for loop and a while loop. And hopefully you learned a couple things like I++, the increment operator. You can also use a decrement operator where it subtracts 1. So while integer I equals 0, you can just make it say while integer I is greater than negative 25, it'll cycle through and count down from 0 all the way down to negative 25. Like so. This is not the for loop. Press the button, we're now in the for loop. Counts all the way from 0 all the way down to negative 25. You can also do this with a float number, and it doesn't. You don't have to use a decrement operator. What this is saying is I is equal to I minus 1. That's what that means. If you're using a float number, you can actually make it set to 0.1, and it'll go down from 0 to negative 0.9 to negative 0.8 all the way down to until it gets to 25. Let's load. There it goes. This is not in the for loop. Press the button. It decreases all the way down. C++ runs pretty fast, so you can't really. There's not really much lag. Those are all the values between 0 and negative 25 in decimal form. That is the end of this tutorial. Hope to see you on lesson 4, and I guess I'll see you on the other side. Thanks for watching.